eyes of the world are focused. Whenever history is in the making, she is there, organising events, guiding those new to the limelight, bringing openness to those who shape the destinies of the planet. In the corridors of power, behind closed doors, she is the one the leaders follow, jetting around the world to bring words of comfort to the bewildered. Ever ready to share herself with her public, she'll even give up her Sundays to bring colour to our lives. Interrupting her busy schedule to be with us tonight, ladies and gentlemen, Dame Edna Everage.
Makes a change from the wisteria. This is my fairground look. This is my little candy floss look. It's the look that says, lick me, possums. I'd like to extend you all a lovely, lovely, warm, warm welcome to the Dame Edna experience. And I'm very happy to say, too, that our ratings are runaway. They are soar away. The success of this show, London Weekend, is over the moon. You wouldn't think so, but they are. They are, and of course, the fan mail is like, well, it's like an avalanche of fan mail now. Huge, bulging mailbags. I think if my little postman wasn't on strike, he'd run a very serious risk of straining himself in an intimate part of his anatomy. I don't know what to do at the moment without having a strange man's hernia hanging over my head. I don't just get fan letters, darlings. I get letters from people, some of them pathetic, begging to be guests on my show. Applications from would-be guests, celebrities and celebrities you've never heard of. They're crawling out of the woodwork, from under blankets, from under stones, begging, pleading, and sometimes offering bribes to be on the show. And to them, I have to say, I'm terribly sorry it's too late. My slot is chock-a-block. It is dead late. There isn't another vacancy, I'm afraid. Even all the waiting lists are oversubscribed. I'd love to have everyone as my guest on the show, but it's proved impossible, I'm afraid. And yet I must say we've had to say no to some rather famous people. Poor little Greta Garbo. Do you remember Greta? She wrote me a sad little letter in broken English saying that she would be prepared to break her very long silence to be a guest on this show. And I had to say something very difficult. I had to say, I'm terribly sorry, Greta, but your name would mean nothing to the now generation. I said, you've left your run a little bit too late, Greta. Goodness, that's a hard thing to say, isn't it? I found it quite easy, as a matter of fact. As a matter of fact, I quite enjoyed saying it, but that's me. I said it in a kind and a caring way. Lord Lucan phoned me from an phone box and said he would reveal where he has been all these years if I put him on the show, and I had to say, I'm sorry, you know, you're yesterday's news, Luke. But it was personal friends, people I know, people I care about, friends of my family's who felt that they could use that lever to get on the program. And to them, I've had to say the hardest words of all, no, and a little family in particular who are watching now, the royal family. I know you wanted to be on the show, and I wanted to have you too, but it's not your kind of show. It isn't a game show, is it? And there's my old bridesmaid, Madge Allsop, sitting over there. Yes, yes. Hello, Madge. What are you wearing that frock for, Madge? Goodness me, I gave it to you to use as a duster, and look at it. Look like a moth in it, darling. Promise me you won't nibble my guests' clothes during this program, will you? And what guests we've got. A wonderful lineup of guests tonight. We've got gorgeous, neo-romantic Jane Seymour on the program tonight. And the man you all love to hate, Larry Hagman from Dallas. And first cab off the rank, my preferred... England's favourite unmarried gentleman. My favourite bachelor boy. Celebrated Cornshire cottage dweller. Yes, it's totally Arthur Marshall. Take your time, Arthur. Take your time, darling. You've got all night. Don't hurry down that dangerous staircase. I think while Arthur is making his way down here, we've got time for my second guest, Jane Seymour.
What a pleasure. Thank you for inviting me.
Jane, it's a privilege. Sit in this lovely seat. That gorgeous frock
Is it
of
big
yours.
enough for me?
It is. Pretty as a
Thank
picture.
you.
Look at it.
Thank
Who
you.
designed that for you, Jane?
Well, this was made by the Emanuels, David and Elizabeth Emanuel, who did the princess's wedding dress, you remember?
No,
Princess
yes.
Diana, you remember?
Beautiful. I know her well.
Yes.
Absolutely. Have you known them very long?
Well, actually,
Jane?
yes, when they were struggling designers and they came out of art college and I was a struggling actress, I was invited to meet the Queen for one of my first movies and they let me borrow one of their first creations. So it's nice. We've struggled together through the years.
Beautiful. Well, they must have struggled to truss you into that frock, darling. Absolutely gorgeous, and you are adorable, too.
Thank you.
I'm going to give you a little badge, because otherwise I forget people's names. Come on, where is it, woman? Jane. The badge, Madge, the badge. Here it is, sweetheart. Just peel that off. There, we just pin it on you. And, just in case I call you Arthur.
Well, you know, it's such a treat to be invited here because, you know, you are an extraordinary woman. You've done such wonders for women all over the world, proving that it's possible to do everything, to be a world leader, a mother, and glamorous and bring femininity to all of this.
I hope I've done all of those things and even more, Jane. You were so sweet to Arthur on the stairs there, too.
Yes.
There he is, still hobbling down. However, my darling, I'm very fond of your book.
Oh, you are? You read it, did you?
I read it. I cherish it. It's in my bedside drawer, amongst other things.
Does this mean you're a romantic?
I am. I'm a bit of a neo-romantic myself, as you well know. And I've loved your book, and I want you to give us a few little tips just about how to put romance back into our lives.
There are a couple of tips that an old boyfriend of mine used to do that were kind of neat. And he used to leave little messages for me all over the house. Just little messages like, I love you, I miss you, can't wait to see you. And he'd leave them places that he knew I'd be, like in the coffee pot, the teapot, in the refrigerator, in the candy box, in the biscuit tin, in my underwear drawer.
Oh, darling.
Places like this.
Oh,
and that's
gorgeous.
sort of romantic, you know, and...
Did he know where these places were?
Well, he... Do you know what I did? Eventually I married him, and then years later, when the marriage didn't work, Edna. No. I mean, the romance did, but the marriage didn't work. And then afterwards, years later, when I unpacked my boxes, I found the messages.
Oh, you did? What a poignant little reminder of that romance.
That's so romantic.
It's gone stale like old cologne. I I leave little messages for Madge around our penthouse, too, like empty the kitty litter tray. But romance is so important, and a lot of people do let it go out of their lives.
They really do. Life is, you know, it's tough, and you have to just bring some magic and some fun into your life, as I know you do.
Well, what other little things, for example?
Well, for example, my husband is a total romantic. He's a businessman, you know. He works sort of in an office in a sort of three-piece suit, and he does accounting and things like this. So he's very regulated at times that he goes to work. So on the Monday morning, I told him he couldn't leave the house till 9 o'clock. That made him suspicious. And at 9 o'clock, the doorbell went, and I threw him into the back of a car that a man was driving, a limousine, and took him off. And he said, "What's happening? Where am I going? What's going on?" He likes to be in control. And I said, "Well, never you mind." And he said, "What?" And I said, "Never you mind." And so he started going, The next thing I knew, we were in the airport, and he figured he was going somewhere. He was allowed one phone call to his office to make sure I'd done everything right. And I whisked him off to Mexico.
What a lovely romantic idea.
Have you ever tried that?
I'd love to try it. Unfortunately, my husband is an invalid, and an expensive one, too.
Couldn't you kidnap him?
Well, it's difficult getting his iron prostate through the metal. We shouldn't laugh, should we? But we have to laugh. I only wish he could laugh at his own misfortunes like we can. But I took a tip out of your book about the Mexican experience.
Oh, you did?
And I did send him to Mexico in a spooky and gorgeous way, in a romantic way that I think you would have approved. He was in his special wing of the Hossie here in London. Hadn't been here more than a few days. And he thought he went to Mexico. I put a cactus on his locket. I played an old Trini Lopez tape through his head. And I folded his sallow old fingers round an old pair of maracas. Just to make him really think he was in Mexico. To really convince him he was in Mexico, I arranged for the hospital to give him a weeny little dose of gastroenteritis. That's not a difficult thing to arrange in a British hospital. As a matter of fact, they often give it to people without them even asking. There's Arthur on his way, making his way towards us. Hello, Arthur. You're doing very, very well there. I believe. Darling, isn't he a gorgeous old thing? He's a marvel.
He is a marvel.
He didn't need much oxygen to do this. I think we women should keep... Look at my spunky old frock. You know, I think we should keep a bit of mystery. I must say, on my wedding night, when Norm was a much fitter human being than he is now, bless his heart, I remember the hotel manager saying to me, "Would you like an interconnecting room?" And I said, "I don't think so. I'm not even sure we're going to interconnect tonight." Because I think, you know, all this candlelight and the jacuzzi and all that type of thing, it's nice, but it's fundamentally, it's a bit of a preamble. It's a way of putting off the evil moment, isn't it? You've been successfully married 3 times, darling. What would you say was the secret of a successful marriage? I mean, what helps a relationship?
You know, Dame Edna, this is the reason I came on your show. I was hoping you'd be able to tell me.
Well, I think it's having things in common. I think it's being able to share. Frankly, I do. I'm sorry, but I do.
Well, you know, you're absolutely right, because, you know, when I met my third husband, I hired him as my accountant first, and as I entered his office and met him, I saw that he had this wonderful collection of ducks, including a stuffed duck underneath a tree. And I'd left England, where I had a house full of, you know, collection of ducks and a stuffed duck under a tree, and I thought, what a coincidence, we have something in common. And that's what we had in common.
Oh,
so that I knew there was obviously something...
Ducks.
Stuffed ducks, yes. Yes, you know, the kind the taxidermist makes, yes.
I do. Taxidermist is always a funny word to me. I always think it's a cab driver with eczema. I must say that... Oh, excuse me. I'm sorry. Hello. White House. Mary, is it? Oh, It's the White House. Hello? Excuse her, won't you? Excuse her. Hello, Ronnie. How are you, darling? I told you not to ring me at work, Possum. Please, don't. You've been trying for a long time, have you? Your finger's getting sore? Well, why don't you press the recall button? You have no recall? What are you ringing me about, darling? What are you... Just sit quietly. It'll come to you, darling. It'll come to you, Mr. President. Yes, you are. The President... Well, look outside. See if it says Oval Office on the door, darling. I'll be back to you later. Thanks. Bye. 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 Goodbye. Bye. I'm sorry, Jane. I'm sorry, sweetheart. But it's been lovely talking to you. I love your hair, by the way, if I may say so. It's utterly gorgeous.
Thank you.
It's a lovely colour, too. What colour would it be? What did it say on the packet?
I've always liked to call it early rat myself, Dame Edna.
Lovely. I remember when I first started to grow hair I could sit on. But you brought romance back into our lives. Jane Seymour, Possum. Got it all in. And now a little man who's been making his way to this set for quite a long time now. A very big hand for Cuddly Arthur Marshall!
Hello, Jane.
I met you on the stairs. I remember
So
passing
we
you.
did.
Yes.
Very much a case of the tortoise and the hare, wasn't it? I like to compare little Jane to a tortoise. Give me the... Here we are, Arthur. This is your little name sticker. There we are. Make yourself at home, my darling Possum. Oh, look at this exquisite creature.
Isn't she marvellous?
Couldn't you run
Wonderful.
barefoot through her hair? Or hobble through her hair? I mean that nicely, Arthur. I do. You know, my darling Arthur, I often wonder, who is your ideal woman? What is your concept of a beautiful woman?
I'm rather like John Betjeman, whom I think was a friend of yours, Dame Edna.
Yes, he was.
And I rather like a beefy girl, preferably one who plays tennis. A lovely Christine Truman is a case in point, a dear creature, known to you?
I don't know Christine,
No.
but I think
She's
I once
sweet.
shook her hand. What do you think women have that men don't, Arthur? I don't want to get too biological, no. I know you live in the country.
I think women are much more sensible than men, much more reliable, much nicer. And they really should run the world, you know. I mean, no woman would make a bomb and drop it on another woman, would they?
No, we would not.
Certainly not you.
We would not. And a little woman is running England rather well at the moment, Arthur.
Isn't she doing splendidly?
Isn't
Dear
she?
Mrs. T. Oh, what an example.
She rings me for advice quite a lot, too. I taught her to wear a handbag over her arm like that. You see, my hairstyle, which I mentioned earlier, is a bit of a tribute to another very famous woman, Barbara Cartland. Do you know her at all?
Oh, Barbara Cartland. Yes, indeed.
Well, lately, since I've had my hair rinsed pink, I've been mistaken for Barbara Cartland.
Yes.
As a matter of fact, Princess Diana mistook me for her recently. I could tell she did. She ignored me. That your charm, isn't he gorgeous?
Oh, yes.
Two women looking at you with only one thought on their minds. Half a woman over here. But I must say, you were on the wireless a lot in the early years of the war?
Yes.
Putting on funny voices?
Sort of, I used to do schoolmistress turns.
Oh. But you didn't dress up as them or anything. Oh, no, I'm glad to hear that. Something sickening, isn't there, about it? I think so. What kind of homes do they come from? Oh, isn't it yucky? Spooky, really. Spooky. And yet, do you know some couples, they dress up as each other to enliven their marriage? Oh! I love a good old gossip, and you're gossip. You're good, and you're certainly old. You live in this lovely part of England, Cornshire, don't you? Devonshire, sorry.
Devonshire.
Devonshire, in a lovely little cottage like off a biscuit tin.
Yes. It's a cottage made out of converted mill workers' cottages, one up, one down, 3 of them. And it means that I've ended up with 4 lavatories.
It's pretty as a picture, is it, down there?
It's very
in this
pretty.
It's
beautiful.
Oh,
yes, it's
living
lovely.
in the country must be lovely. Such a macho man as you. I suppose you're busy hang gliding and playing the stock car racing, all that type of thing. What do you do in those... Of course, time passes
There was
so
terrible
slowly.
worry. We very often have whist drives in the village.
Whist?
Whist drives. And there was this awful thing about AIDS, that horrible disease, and everyone was being told not to change partners.
In whist?
And you can't have a whist drive without changing partners the whole time.
Oh, dear, but the pace is lovely down there, isn't it?
It's lovely, it's beautiful.
What do you do in the evenings?
Well, I'm very keen on I sit in the sun if there's any sun. I read a lot. I watch a lot of telly, which I greatly enjoy. And I'm very, very keen on cooking. I really love to cook.
I like to hear about a man who cooks, don't you, Jane?
Definitely.
I think it's a sign of sexual confidence, I think. If a man can pop on a frilly little apron and take off his watch, put it next to the fairy liquid, and cook scrummy things. What's your favourite little recipe,
My
Arthur?
favourite thing is cauliflower cheese. I get my collie, I separate my collie. I boil it for 20 minutes, not a second less. I don't like it scrunchy.
No, I'm glad to hear that. Isn't that a silly fashion, making things all chewy and raw?
Beastly.
Ghastly.
Les crudités, horrible.
Oh, horrible.
Well, then I make a very rich cheese sauce.
Please, people are writing this down. They are. Some of them, of course, haven't got a pen. There are some of them illiterate, let's face it. And some are trying to find felt-tip pens that they've left the tops off that don't write. Some people are dipping their fingers in jam and writing on the television screen itself. Or scratching into the wallpaper with their thumbnail. But it does sound...
Well, then, finally, I add a 1/4 pound of prawns into the sauce. It gives it... It's quite
certainly
something. It's very good. Then I pour it all over the collie. But, Dame Edna, I've read, of course, all your books. You've been a great cook.
I do.
Have you
like
rustled up
cooking.
anything for us tonight?
Well, I've rustled up something for you, Arthur Marshall, because I want you to sit in the train with it when you go back to Cornshire. And I want... Madge, would you go and get that scrummy thing I made, Arthur? That's a good girl. Bless her heart, I adore that woman, but I can't spoil her in front of people. I can't. I have to be a bit stern with her. I really do. Now, this is a banana and chocolate surprise. It's an invention of mine, Arthur. It is a banana. Can the camera see that? It's a banana and chocolate surprise. And if you put that on your lap in the train, I think I'll say with this. Crummy. Your fellow passengers will will take a new interest in you, darling. I'll get Madge to hold this for a moment while I introduce my next guest, and this is very, very exciting. You were marvellous. Arthur Marshall. My next guest is probably the most famous man in the world, Arthur. And, Jane, he's the man you love to hate. He's specially flown in here because he adores me all the way from Dallas. It's J.R. himself, Larry Hagman. You, Larry. It's possible that famous man has now got multiple fracture. It's possible. But I'm sorry, he was being ostentatious with his money, Arthur. He was. We're all as rich as creases on this show. But we don't flaunt it, do we, Arthur? On the contrary. In this little commercial break that's coming up, I'm going to have a very serious little maternal word with Larry. That's if he's all in one piece and isn't suffering from multiple fracture. And if he promises to be a good, unostentatious little boy, he's going to be my big guest after this message. He's promised to behave himself. I can't wait to have him on the programme. An ovation for Larry Hagman!
Hello, darling. How you doing?
Seymour.
Nice to see you.
How you doing?
Marshall.
Nice to see you.
Make yourself very much at home, Larry.
Thank you.
I'm so sorry I ejected you earlier. Wasn't it awful of me?
I enjoyed it.
I didn't... Oh, here's your badge. Madge, the badge. Here it is, Larry, just in case your name slips my memory, which is very unlikely. I'm very excited having you on my show.
Thank you.
And I want to ask you a question because I've heard that you're called the Mad Monk of Malibu.
Yes,
Now,
yes.
why is that?
Well, we live on the beach, and my wife has built jacuzzis, hundreds of them.
Oh.
And to get out, it's very cold sometimes, even in Malibu, in California. So she's made a bunch of robes for us in different colors. I'm sure we'd find something for you.
Oh, I'd love her to run something up for me.
And everybody wears them, and they have hoods on them, and they're nice to have. And so we will romp around on the beach in those robes. So it's called the Priory, or the Mad Monk of Malibu. That's how it's stuck.
Lovely. It looks, perhaps to a foreigner drifting past Malibu, a little bit like a co-educational convent.
Yeah, it is kind of like that. Yeah, right. Yeah.
I must say the days, though, in Malibu must melt into each other. They must. What do you do to relieve the occasional boredom?
Well, on occasions, we'll have a parade, you know. I collect flags. I'm a great collector of flags.
Lovely.
And I'll stick 50 or 60 flags out on the beach, and people will come by, and around 3 o'clock in the afternoon, when the wind comes up, we'll go and take a flag and walk down the beach for about a mile, and then have a gong bong, and then walk back again. You've been?
I've been to the flag waving.
Yes,
have you?
Yeah, I thought he was a rather suspicious neighbour at the time, but we moved house. So.
You were proved right, too, weren't you?
I must ask. I don't know if my hearing deceived me. Did I hear some word beginning with G and B hyphenated? A gong bong, did you say?
Gong bong.
What is a gong bong?
Well, there's a guy named
This
Wade.
is a family show.
I understand. I've seen it. Yes, I know how much of a family you've got here. A gong bong is where you get a couple of 100 people and you all join hands, get in a circle, and you squat down on the sand and you have 10. You count to 10. You go, and you take 10 deep breaths, very deep breaths, and on the 10th one you stand up and you all say gong bong, and everybody faints because you hyperventilate.
My darling, I'm interested to hear that your wife designs jacuzzis because I'm very fond of. You got a jacuzzi?
Yes, I do, Dame Edna.
Oh, lovely.
Yes. I love jacuzzis. I like putting candles around the outside of them.
Oh. What
Just-
for, darling? Why not? Why not? You never know when there might be a power failure. I must say, we have a jacuzzi. I want your wife to design me a proper one. We've got a smallish one. I like to have it on my own. But Madge slips in like an alligator. I see her nostrils above the surface. And you know, you lose the soap, don't you? You lose it in an ordinary bath. In a jacuzzi, the search is almost impossible. I never know whether it's up my end or up Madge's. I must say, it's usually up hers. Thank goodness. Thank goodness for soap on a roast. That's what I... However, do you invite lots of people? I mean, you obviously have these big gatherings of people. Do you have a lot of people in the jacuzzi at once?
Just family.
Oh. How big is it?
30.
30 people in the one jacuzzi?
Yes.
Do you have business associates?
Oh, I always do business in the jacuzzi. I always talk to my... When I used to have agents, I used to have them in there. We'd talk and blah, blah, blah. But I don't have those anymore, so I got rid of all the people who
So
had
you
on
don't do your business in your jacuzzi?
I don't swim in your toilet, so...
Do you have a lot of people in California, I've found, have shrinks, sort of psychiatric help? You wouldn't need anything like that.
I did for a couple of years, yes. Yes, before I really became... When I really became successful was when I had a shrink. Because I'd been struggling all those years and I didn't know how to stop and so forth.
Was he a help to you, darling?
He was.
Yes, I think they can be if you get the right person.
Oh, yeah, he was.
You need counselling, you need to be able to share with someone, I think.
Yeah, he gave me... when I first walked into his office, as a matter of fact, he says, I'm going to tell you something now, and you may not believe it for a couple of years. Actually, he was saying $100,000 later, but he was right. He said, don't worry, be happy. And that's been my motto. Don't worry, be happy, feel good. And what is yours? Do you have a motto?
Well, that sounds simple, and yet it isn't. It's pretty profound in a way, in a spooky old way. I have a motto. Do you, Jane?
Yes, I suppose so. I mean, I think today is really the first day of the rest of your life.
Yes, there's a lot of sense in that. What about you? Wise old Arthur Marshall.
I have one that was given me by the president of a women's institute, a most wholesome woman. And the motto is, hope for the best, expect the worst, and take what comes.
There's a lot of wisdom here on this show. Well, my mother was a wonderfully wise old woman, and still is to some extent. And she's in a home for the bewildered, by the way. And she once said to me, a little poem. She used to make donuts, and she used to say this little poem. She said, as you pass through life, let this be your goal. Keep your eye upon the donut and not upon the hole. There's a lot of wisdom. Now, think about that for a minute. Think about it. Aren't I good, by the way, not having referred to Dallas all this time? Don't you think?
Why?
What restraint? Well, I don't know. Arthur loves Dallas, don't you,
Oh, I
darling?
love it.
Do you?
Yes, but we'd all wish that you'd make a better breakfast. We very often see you on the terrace of Southfork with a great mound of egg and bacon and things, and you give it a contemptuous look, and you get into the car and you drive off in order to be beastly to somebody.
Well, once you sat out at 108 degrees at 11 o'clock in the morning in Dallas, you don't want to eat a lot of bacon and eggs, let me tell you. No, you don't want to match either, right?
Right.
Yeah, matching is a difficulty. It's not like this show, you know,
And we have a little bit of trouble in picking out what Sue Ellen has said. Her mouth moves, and it's rather difficult to pick out the words.
Arthur, I asked you to... Please, I asked you to comment, not to tear the show to pieces. I love the plot, though, the story, that dream. You know, when it all turned out to be a dream. Larry, how did that happen? How did that happen?
Well, the ratings were slipping, so... That's how it happened. The producers came to me and they said, what if you think it's a dream? I said, fine. Just fine. They said, do you think the public will go for it? And I said, well, if they don't, we're off the air. And they said, what's the alternative? I said, well, we're off the air. It doesn't make any difference one way or another. And they did accept it, and we're still on the air and doing rather well.
Didn't it pay off, my darling?
Yeah.
It did. But dreams are funny. Do you have funny dreams, do you, Jane?
No, I really don't. And if I did, I don't think I'd dare tell you.
No, not on this show. You, Arthur?
I dream night after night that I'm having breakfast with the Queen on the terrace at Balmoral. She eats enormous quantities of Oxford marmalade.
A sticky dream, I
Just the
suppose.
two of us.
He's obsessed with breakfast, isn't he? He's obsessed with breakfast. You think about breakfast all the time, darling. However, I was getting a little bit metaphysical then, and I don't mean to be. Do you enjoy being a sex symbol?
Yes. At my age, it's wonderful.
I want to ask you something. You knew little Joan Collins many moons ago, didn't you?
Yes.
You did. And in those far-off days, and by the way, she was absolutely gorgeous.
Still is.
And still is. In those far-off days, a little chemistry might have been a little bit different. And you could have tied the knot with little Joan. You could have.
No. She was 16 and I was 19. There was a lot, and I had to go report to her father and shake hands and get her home at the same time and have a car and stuff like that. In those days, cars were expensive, you know.
But I suppose if
Even
things
Morris
had
Minor.
turned up differently, you know, she wouldn't have been in all the trouble she's in today.
I would have been.
Ladies and gentlemen, Larry Hagman. Hasn't it been gorgeous? So many other things I want to ask you. You know, I want to end with a little musical tribute to you, Larry. A duet. Don't worry, don't look tense. It's a duet for one. But you can cut in if necessary. I know in those lovely old Nelson Eddy and Jeanette MacDonald pictures.
One moment. I brought you a present, and I hope we don't take a lot of time here. But Madge, could you bring us what I brought, Dame Edna, please? I brought you a little hat from Texas.
Oh.
I know. I know you collect hats too. And yes, there you go.
Look at this gift wrapped too.
Yes,
Thanks, Madge.
there you are, my darling.
How beautiful. Look, a present from Larry Hagman. How about that? Look at this. I should take it to a gift unwrapping department. Look. Oh, darling, look what I got, Possum. How about that? What do you mean? But I'm going to do most of the singing, and if you feel like coming in, come in, possum. Oh, I'm just wild about Larry, and Larry's wild about me. He's so mean and callous when he's on Dallas, but he's nice in reality. He's sweet, just like chocolate candy, and just like honey from the bee. Oh, I'm just wild about Larry, and Larry's wild about me. Now, there's a little bit coming up where you can contribute if you wish, darling. Here we go, coming up right now.
I'm just wild about Edna.
And I'm just wild about you. I've been billing and cooing with J.R. Ewing right through these interviews.